Michelle Corson with Kern Public Health says the numbers on chlamydia and syphilis rates are out of control.
We consider this a public health crisis for our community.
But even more alarming, the continued rise of congenital syphilis.
This is a bizarre story, the most bizarre of the morning. It's in Rowan County. A man there is suing state and county officials for not allowing him to get married.
But get this, the person or thing he wanted to marry was a laptop computer.
In this day and age, nothing surprises me anymore.
Chris Sevier is from Tennessee, but he is suing Rowan County Clerk Kim Davis, Attorney General Andy Beshear, and Governor Matt Bevin for his failed marriage attempt to this laptop computer. Sevier argues that if same-sex couples have the right to marry, then he should be able to marry his computer.
Police say they are seeing a spike in homicides. Officers there say there have been more this year so far than the combined totals of the previous 2 years.
Wow.
Well, hi, everyone. Thanks so much for joining us tonight. Let's get right to it. The number of murders has spiked in Minnesota, up 58% in 2015.
The numbers across the state, though, are startling. Violent crimes, including rape, robbery, and aggravated assault, were up 7.6%.
According to Cincinnati Police crime stats, the problem extends beyond Westwood. In District 3, which includes Westwood, 12 homicides in 2016. It's a 33% increase than the same time last year. Adding to the concern, an increase in robberies and aggravated assault.
Look at this video that we got for you earlier today. The hail did extensive damage to windows and roofs all around here. That hailstorm moved through Castle Rock early this afternoon when people were about to get off work. Imagine coming home to this scene. Car windows completely shattered out. Almost every car left outside in some neighborhoods were destroyed. Listen to these people who were taken by surprise by this storm. Listen.
啊，没有，车子出不来了，车子出去跑了。啊，对，害怕。
images have been common in China in recent weeks. Heavy rains and storms have battered the country, causing severe flooding in many areas. In the city of Tongcheng in eastern China, floodwaters broke an elevated flume at a reservoir on Sunday. The incident happened after 3 days of extraordinary rainstorms. On the same day in central China's Enshu city, 18 people were trapped by landslides triggered by torrential rain. In Jinshan in Hubei province, water broke through dams and reservoirs, flooding farmland. Roads were damaged and houses were submerged so that only their rooftops could be seen.
Homes in the area have also been flooded, forcing residents to leave their possessions behind and sleep out in the open. In another area, about 8 kilometers from the airport, inhabitants have built shelters on makeshift scaffolding.
Water was everywhere. When I came from work, I couldn't reach my house and everything was gone. I couldn't salvage anything.
We are just living by the grace of God. Majority of the people are on the road here and by the water. No canoe to get people out. People who can swim are the people you see around the roadside here.
Security personnel who died when floodwaters swept away their checkpost. 4 others were seriously injured. Elsewhere in the province, 4 people were killed while 4 others were injured when the roof of their worksite collapsed. Search and rescue operations.
Experts suggest you avoid parking in underground garages and stay away from street lamps and power lines due to the risk of electric shock. When at home, check whether your pipes are functioning well, and factories and buildings are advised to follow safety regulations more closely. Residents living in low-lying areas where flooding or landslides are possible should also be aware of evacuation areas and have an emergency contact. Adding to the weather ooze, the first typhoon of the season may also affect Korea over the course of the week. Typhoon Nepatak, currently south of Guam, is forecast to move toward Taiwan in the coming days and could have an indirect impact on Korea.
Bouts take form before running for their own safety. Many took shelter inside homes not built for such severe storms. Among them was Madeleine Barban, who credits her neighbors' quick thinking with saving her children. Waves of up to 16 feet in height crashed along the shore, toppling an estimated 30 homes and properties. At least 38 people were injured in the storm, though no fatalities have been reported. Caught off guard, locals now face the task of building back
Oh, it just gives me the willies. We've actually slowed it down so you can see it there, that funnel in the background. This was in Eureka, Kansas from Thursday night. There were actually 2 tornadoes that hit Eureka, Kansas that caused damage, one extensively to a nursing home. They were rated an EF2 as well as an EF3. We also know that there were 50 homes and businesses that were damaged. Thankfully, the Greenwood County Sheriff says that nobody was hurt or killed in the storm. But of course, a lot of damage and plenty of cleanup that's going to be happening.
Than 100 years. At least 3 people died, 100 others were hurt. Buildings heavily damaged across the island. Now eastern China is on high alert as the typhoon nears Fujian's shores. The powerful weather system is expected to make landfall Saturday morning.
The first typhoon of the year caused traffic chaos and significant damage to residential buildings. As of Saturday, water levels reached almost 5 meters. That's 1 meter above the warning level.
home in Watkins. Residents there had to be relocated to a safe place. Also, damage was reported in Litchfield. Check this out. See all those roofs flying off those structures. Now, this was on a farm. That tornado moved further out into the country. Now, just one minor injury was reported in these Minnesota storms. Flash flood warnings were issued in the area, with the sheriff advising residents to stay off the road.
These are the victims of the worst drought to hit Ethiopia in 50 years.
Nevertheless, I mean, the scale of this particular crisis, the Ethiopian crisis, the drought, is massive. Because if you look at the number of people in need, and a number that which could increase now.
Ethiopian officials insist the conditions for declaring famine have not been met. The UN says at least 10 million people are in urgent need of aid in Ethiopia.
But first, India is facing one of its worst droughts in decades. It's estimated that roughly a quarter of the population is affected. Now, the parched conditions combined with searing temperatures have caused water shortages and crop failures.
Behind me are endless fields of green orchards. Clearly, here in the Central Valley, the agricultural landscape is getting plenty of water. But then, over here, you have the landscape for what the rest of California looks like for the most part, incredibly brown and dry because of the drought. They get no water.
Well, you want to talk about the power of water. Look at some of this incredible, horrifying video coming out of China. Now, I want to get this out of the way. In the video you're seeing here, actually no casualties reported, amazingly. I mean, this is truly amazing to see what's going on there. Specifically, this is over in the Hunan province, Guqiang County, Morong Town is where this is. And, of course, the landslides and mudslides that have been going on there. This was one storm. It produced close to 8 inches of rain, which would be close to 200 millimeters. Look how fast that water's moving. I mean, it's just amazing that none of those people were even washed away. I mean, sometimes you get about 6 inches of water. If it's moving fast enough, that can easily knock people off their feet. But still, no casualties reported in this, I think, is just unbelievably good news.
Across the country this week, a blanket of hot air has landed with a suffocating, often triple-digit thud. It scorched construction workers in California, singed softball players in Kansas, and even stressed out trout in Montana, where some of the state's most popular streams were closed as a consequence. In Chicago, 92 degrees with humidity felt like 105. A 9-mile-an-hour breeze barely cut through the haze.
Out in Los Angeles County has gained strength and grown to over 30,000 acres, according to the Los Angeles Times. Now, at least 18 homes have been destroyed and one person has died near Santa Clarita, California. Look how thick that smoke is. Well, the planes that were trying to drop the fire retardant, they couldn't. They actually had to be grounded because that smoke was so thick for a period of time. Thousands of homes were evacuated and more than 1,600 firefighters were deployed to fight the fires.
Fire activity out on the sand fire is extreme. Conditions are extremely hot.
Flooding. This video was shot in Liliha, where cars are literally underwater on the H1 freeway. Our cameraman recorded a Dodge Charger with rainwater covering its windows. The freeway westbound in this area is shut down. It's not only the freeway scene flooding, many side streets are impassable at this hour. Police are doing their best to direct traffic, but you're asked to try to stay off the roadways. Now, we also want to show you new video of manholes overflowing because of all of the rain.
Heat advisories
are now up in 14 states in the east from North Carolina right up to Massachusetts. More than 50 million people in the zone, and that heat has turned deadly. So far this year, 21 children have now died in hot cars. The latest just yesterday in Dallas, a 2-year-old left in the family van outside their church. The heat firing up severe storms for millions in the Northeast. This lightning hitting the Empire State Building.
The authority continues its second highest orange alert for a heat wave in the southern areas. Provinces and municipalities in the middle lower reaches of the Yangtze River, including Anhui, Jiangsu, Shanghai and Zhejiang, have been baking since Wednesday last week. And temperatures are expected to soar to as high as 40 degrees Celsius today.
Concerns at this hour tonight amid the storms hitting right now. It comes after that historic flooding in Maryland triggered by torrential rains, a human chain saving a woman, more than 100 others saved too.